Hello my dear class 7 students. Today we will discuss about the chapter 4, that is weather and climate. In the previous class we have already covered the first part of this chapter, and in this class we will cover the remaining portion. I am Ishita Raj and I am going to teach you about this chapter. Okay students, let's start this chapter. As in the previous class, we have discussed about different elements of weather. The first three of them, like the temperature, the atmospheric pressure and the wind, these three we have already discovered in the part 1. And today we will discuss about the remaining portion, like the humidity. What is humidity? Precipitation, condensation and the cloud cover. Even with that, what are the different types of cloud that are present or that can be found in the atmosphere? And the last one, the last elements in the weather is the sunshine. Okay, we will start this. Now we will discuss about the humidity. What is humidity? It is the amount of moisture or the water vapor that are present in the atmosphere. It is the amount of dampness in the atmosphere. So if you have the damp weather or if you have the humid weather, that means the atmosphere that has much amount of water vapor present in the air. And if you have the dry region, like in the desert region, this is a dry region, so the atmosphere does not contain much amount of water vapor. But in equatorial region, the humid climate is there, damp weather is there, that is why contains much more humidity, or you can say the water vapor. This is the humidity. This is of two types. This is of two types. One is the absolute humidity and another one is the relative humidity. What does it mean? Absolute humidity is the total amount of water vapor that are present in a given volume of air. So if you have this volume of air, then total amount of water vapor that are present in this much air will be called as the absolute humidity. And what is relative? It is not the amount, but it is the ratio. What ratio? The ratio between the amount of water vapor in a certain volume of air is present right now, and up to what extent it will have the capacity or the maximum amount that might exist without condensation at a certain temperature. So the temperature is the determinant here, like if the temperature will be changed, then the relative humidity will also be changed. So in a certain temperature, in a parcel of air, what the total amount of water vapor that are already present and up to which it can consume or it can absorb, the ratio will be called as the relative humidity. Like I am giving you the example. Okay, so the example is like, if you can consume 5 biscuits, okay, this is the highest limit of the biscuits that you can consume is the 5 biscuits. Okay, I am giving you the chocolates. Okay, so the 5 chocolates you can consume, but now you are consuming only 3. So total number of chocolates that you are consuming is the absolute humidity, and the ratio between what you have already consumed and up to which you can consume, the ratio between these two will be called as the relative humidity. Okay, I think you would remember it, what is absolute humidity and what is relative humidity. The instrument by which we can measure the relative humidity is the hygrometer or the wet and dry bulb thermometer. Hygrometer, also called as the wet and dry bulb thermometer. This is the picture of the hygrometer by which we can measure the humidity. Next we have the precipitation. Okay, we have covered the humidity. After humidity, if the air has the water vapor, much content of water vapor, then what does it happen? What will happen? Then we have the condensation and precipitation. We will discuss what does it mean. What is condensation? The water vapor that changes into small droplets of water. This process is known as the condensation. Okay. So the water vapor that are present in the atmosphere, or you can say in the air, the water vapor that changes into small droplets of water when they get contact into very cold region or any cool surface, then they will changed into small droplets of water. This process of the state change from the gaseous state to the liquid state, you can say, is the condensation. After condensation, minute droplets of water or the crystals that join together to form the large droplets. So various small water droplets are there, then they will collide to each other, and after that they will from their collision they will create a large droplet, the large ice droplet or the large water droplets, whatever this is, but they create large droplets and join together. When they were in the small size, they will be float in everywhere in the air, but after they will create a large droplets, they will get heavier, right? Heavy, they will be get heavier, that is why they cannot float, then they start to falling. This falling on the earth is called as the precipitation. So you have the condensation here, the state change from the water vapor to the small droplets of water. Next, when they get collided, join together and form the large droplets, after that they will not, or they don't have that much potentiality, they don't have much to float in the air because of their heavier weight, then they starts to fall in the earth. This process is known as the precipitation. So this is condensation and this is precipitation. There are various forms of precipitation. We can only see the rain, but in the cold region there not be any kind of rain, there will be snowfall. Here in the humid region, warm region, we have the rainfall, and the cold region they experience snowfall, even hail, sleet, drizzle. Various forms of precipitation are there. The instrument that measures the rainfall is the rain gauge. Okay, this is the instrument that measures the rainfall. We have the precipitation. From the precipitation, we will directly discuss about the cloud cover, because if there is some cloud cover, then the chances of precipitation will be there. So what is the cloud cover and what is clouds also? Clouds are masses of small water droplets or the very tiny ice crystals that float in the air. Cloud cover have much effect in controlling the weather condition of a given area or given region, because it reduces the amount of insolation, even with that the terrestrial radiation also. What is insolation? I have already discussed that the incoming solar radiation that are coming from the sun and the total amount of heat energy that is received by the earth is the insolation. Now what is terrestrial radiation? Terrestrial radiation is, this is the sun and this is the earth surface. The total amount of heat energy received by the earth is the insolation, and the terrestrial radiation is when the radiation is coming to the air, move back to the air. After radiation, they will be reflected to the air, is called as the terrestrial radiation. So the insolation in the form of short wave and the terrestrial radiation is in the form of the long wave. Okay, short wave radiation in the insolation radiation, but when they are just coming from the earth surface in the form of long wave radiation. So in the atmosphere, if you have some cloud cover there in the atmosphere, okay, I am drawing it properly. So this is the earth's surface, this is the earth surface, right, and this is the sun. You have, this is the sun. After that, when the radiation comes from the sun to the earth and the radiation that reflects back from the earth to the sun, what will happen? If the fair weather is there, no problem, but if there are some cloud cover present in the atmosphere, So this is the cloud cover that presents in the atmosphere. So it will just absorb the incoming solar radiation that will be absorbed here, and on the other hand, the terrestrial radiation that are coming back, that will be also absorbed by the cloud cover. That is why it reduces the amount of insolation. So the total insolation will be absorbed. That is why the earth's surface will not get much amount of insolation, because it reduces. On the same, the terrestrial radiation will be also absorbed by the cloud cover. That is why from a fair weather night we can face more warm or humid in the cloud cover night, right? We experience more hot and humid weather condition during the cloudy days than on cloudless day, because in the cloudless day there is the fair condition, no humid weather is there. Okay, now we will discuss about the different types of clouds. What are the different types of clouds are there? According to their height, their appearance and the vertical developments, there are three types of cloud that are present, is the high cloud, middle cloud and the low cloud. We will discuss it, their different forms. The high clouds, this is the form of various clouds. Have some look students, this is the types of clouds. One thing you have to remember, high cloud, here cirrus cloud is the high cloud, or any kind of cirro in the form of cirro is there in the prefix, this is the high cloud. And for the low cloud we can call it as the nimbo, okay, or nimbus, cumulonimbus, any kind of. And alto is used as a prefix for the middle cloud. So these are the high, middle and low cloud. We will discuss it. So have some look in the picture. So I have already said cirro is the high cloud. Okay, there are cirrocumulus, cirrus, these kinds of clouds are there that are of very high cloud. Cirrus clouds are made of ice crystal, because they are formed in the very high region. They are thin, wispy, they indicate a fair weather. On the other hand, the cirrocumulus are very small, rounded white puffs that exist individually or in longer rows. Cirrostratus is also there. What does stratus mean? Stratus means they are formed in a layer. Stratum means the layer formation. Cirrostratus is there, cirrocumulus is there, even cirrus is there. Cirrocumulus sometimes make the mackerel sky. We can see the sun and the moon clearly through them, through the cirrostratus, because they are thin sheet-like clouds. They often appear right before the form of precipitation. In the middle form, we have the altostratus and the altocumulus. I have already said alto prefix is, see the picture, alto prefix is used for the middle, nimbo is used for the low cloud and the high is the cirro, alto and nimbo. So various clouds like the stratocumulus, like the stratus, like the cumulus. Okay, cumulus in the form of rounded shape. Even we have the very high towering cloud with the anvil shape is the cumulonimbus, mainly formed in the time of cyclone. This is the mainly formed in the time of cyclone. Okay, stratocumulus are also low lumpy clouds. Even nimbostratus are dark grey clouds. They cause continuous rain, because nimbus clouds or nimbo formation are very heavy, you can say very heavy. That is why the high precipitation, chances of high precipitation is there. And cumulonimbus may form due to the very high temperature and the very low pressure. That is why high torrential rainfall due to the cyclone is the indicator. These are the various forms of clouds. Lastly, we have the last parameter, that is the sunshine. The duration of sunshine that plays an important role in determining the weather or climate of a place. Places near the tropics that get abundant sunshine compared to the places near the temperate region. The instrument that measures the duration of sunshine is the Campbell-Stokes sunshine recorder. This is the instrument by which the sunshine is recorded. It has a lens. The several instruments that measure the duration of sunshine, but it is the good instrument. It has the sun rays that are concentrated on a chemically sensitized card with spherical lens. It has the spherical lens. Okay. This card generates a pattern as the sun moves across the sky during the hours of bright sunshine. So this is the instrument by which the sunshine can be recorded. We have already covered the weather, climate, its different parameters or the elements of climate. Now we will end this chapter here. Thank you, students.